Compound 1. I guess you can hear me loud and clear. You have the first special projection, where in the special projection you have SH top vertical, hydrogen left and NH2 right horizontal, and say CH3 vertically down. Now, 4 different groups, it's certainly chiral. Tell me which is priority 1. Priority 1 is
S, S, sulfur.
priority 2 is
Nitrogen.
priority 3 is.
Carbon.
Yes.
I will be interested to just know who is the person coming up with these responses. You're doing a great job. Who's this?
Earth.
Okay, I was expecting the same. Now, 1 to 2 to 3, naturally it's an anti-clockwise arrangement, and with the fourth priority, minimum priority in the horizontal arm, I would rather want to say, I mean, this is a disclaimer. Every time I write but, it means, otherwise, had it been vertical, anti-clockwise would have been, sorry, this is clockwise, I'm really sorry. Clockwise would have been R, but because it's horizontal, I'll write S. I think you're all there with me. बच्चे लोग हाँ ना बोलो. I think you're all there with me.
Yes, sir.
Now what I'll do is I'll very quickly teach you the way how you can play around with the Fisher projection. If you are happy with this nomenclature S, I'll tell you a few rules of playing around with Fisher projections. It will not take long. If there's any doubt at any point of time, you'll want to bring it to my notice. Now, rule number 1, you can have even number of changes. You can have even number of changes in the sense, if you have 4 groups like A, B, C, and D, I've told you in the past, you can exchange them in this manner. You can exchange them in this manner. So when I put this in practice, in this particular compound, I'll certainly have NH2 going up, SH coming down, CH3 coming here. I'm so sorry. Hydrogen coming here and CH3 coming here. Please respond with a yes or no. I have interchanged SH and NH2. So SH2 has come here, NH2 has gone up, and hydrogen and methyl have exchanged their relative positions. What I need to confirm is if this is true and if this is allowed, the two should have the same nomenclature. Now I'll quickly check it. 1, 2, 3. Now this being anti-clockwise and this 4 is along vertical. So this would be a yes or no. So this is confirmed, this is allowed. But chalo khana bolo.
Yes, sir.
I also end up telling you that, with a ABCD arrangement like this, you can play around in this manner. So now if this is true and if I have, suppose, again an even number of change like SH, converted, shifted, and I just want to check if 1, 2, 3, and yet again, this is anti-clockwise, vertically placed. So this is S. So all of this is confirming me the fact that I can interchange in this manner or I can interchange in this manner. Yes or no? Even number of changes where there could be lateral displacements of this kind. I think everybody is there with me. Even number of changes are allowed. What's not allowed is only one change. If suppose we have only one change, so which what I'll do is, suppose if it's not allowed, if I claim I want to prove that it has to be an even number of change, and I'm doing only one particular, I'm only arranging these two. H and CH3, I'm not arranging. And I would claim that now this 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you break a rule, I hope I'm being understood. This will be but anti-clockwise, what horizontal R. I think I'm being understood.
Yes, sir.
Now this which is a result of only one particular exchange, this is not allowed. This is allowed, this is allowed, and I'll give you a couple of minutes to very quickly look at it, and we'll want to move on. Maybe with every example, I'm going to talk about a couple of rules. I think I've, kind of expressed myself with this compound. Maybe for the next compound, I would play around with a few more rules. Moving on. The moment you're done with this compound, you'll want to tell me, I'll want to move to the next compound. Stereochemistry is a never-ending learning experience. But these are, the elementaries which every student should know. Thankfully, we have an online platform, where we can exchange ideas at the convenience of our residence. And I want to move on to the next question. The moment I have a few responses, I'll move to the next question. So what I did is, in compound 1, I established its nomenclature as S. And, the rules which I have for playing around with special projections, when I was, exchanging the positions by, lateral even number of changes, getting the configuration S only. This was S. Around, this particular exchange, I was getting S. And if I broke a rule, even number of changes are allowed. When I broke a rule, when only one change was done, well, it became R. So the point is, with this configuration, you can have two particular natural arrangement of particles around a chiral carbon, which are enantiomeric in nature, written as mirror images of each other, establishing the fact that if one is S, another is R, and vice versa. Yes, I can move to the next example. बच्चे लोग हाँ ना बोलो.
हाँ sir.
Yes.
Yes, right, fine. Sounds good. Sounds good. Next one. So the next one is CH3, Cl, CH2, CH3, and hydrogen. So this time you have a methyl and a ethyl kept vertically, and a chlorine and hydrogen. So along the horizontal arms. Now very quickly, the first priority goes to
Chlorine.
Then carbon and carbon, then methyl. I think I'm being understood. And again, this being clockwise, and this being horizontal, allow me to write but S. I think you're all there with me, but chalo हाँ ना बोलो.
Sir.
Now let me very quickly tell you a few more rules. Another rule, with a special projection having 4 different carbon atoms or 4 different groups, I think it's pretty visible, is suppose if you have 4 different groups, like A, B, C, and D, you can have an exchange like this, even number of exchange like this. A and C can get exchanged, but again, it has to be an even number of change. It is as good as rotating by 180 degree on the plane of the board. So you can kind of rotate it by 180 degree. A and C will exchange their positions, so will B and D. A and C will exchange their positions, so will B and D. So it can be looked upon A and C exchanging their position and B and D exchanging their position, or it could be rotated like 180 degree on the plane of the board. I think I'm being understood. If I deploy the same to the compound at hand, so now methyl will come down, ethyl will go up, and hydrogen and chlorine would be like exchanging their positions as well. Very quickly, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and I guess again it's a clockwise arrangement, but again this being horizontal, I write but S. बच्चे लोग हाँ ना बोलो, which means this is allowed. This is an allowed, this is an allowed playing around with the facial projection, which means these two are identical. It also means these two are identical. Whenever I say this is allowed, this means the two are identical. They're identical. And now let me break a rule. If I break the rule, if I have only one exchange, if I only have one exchange, which is say exchange only, I exchange only vertically. So if I'm exchanging only vertically, please hear me out. I'm not exchanging horizontally, only vertically. Now this 1 and this 2 and this 3 and this 4 and this anti-clockwise, this being what you call it, horizontal, this would be R. So if you break a rule, you will get the enantiomer. Naturally, had I done it for chlorine and hydrogen, had I done it for chlorine and hydrogen, had I done it only for chlorine and hydrogen, naturally, had I done it only for chlorine and hydrogen, very clearly, I would have drawn the so-called mirror image only. 1, 2, 3, 4, anti-clockwise, but R. I think I'm being understood. But chalo, hana bolte raho. So an even number of changes allowed, an odd number of changes not allowed. An even number of changes allowed, an odd number of changes not allowed. Please respond with a yes or no.
Yes.
I can rotate it by 1 degree, which is an even multiple of 90 degrees. So, this is not allowed. Only one exchange is not allowed. If I had aligned it, if I had exchanged it horizontally, it would naturally look like a mirror image conventionally given in the textbook. Rotating by 1 degree is not allowed. Suppose if I rotate it by 1 degree, if I rotate it by 1 degree, and I'm claiming that this is not allowed, I'm right away saying this is not allowed. I'll just prove this is not allowed. If I rotate it by 90 degrees, if I rotate by 90 degrees, say clockwise, and now, because I rotated by 90 degrees, methyl would come here, chlorine would come here, CS2, CS3 would come here, and chlorine, hydrogen would go up. See, rotating by 90 degrees, clockwise, methyl will come to the right horizontal arm, chlorine will come down bottom, vertical, ethyl would come here, and hydrogen would go there. I'm claiming it's not allowed, and I'm claiming it's certainly going to be R. See, 1, 2, 3, this being vertical, I don't have a problem saying this is R because it's vertical and clockwise is R. So, you could rotate it on the plane of the paper by even multiples of 90 degrees, but not by odd multiples of 90 degrees. Once you claim you have understood this, we'll want to move to the next problem. I'm also going to share a video on this particular, rules where what's allowed and what's not allowed. We'll need to have a move on. Please respond if we can move on to the next question.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Now the next problem at hand is say ethyl methyl iodide, CS2I, hydrogen and CS3. So I think this is again something which I did share with you. Hydrogen and CS3. And I think by this time this would be a fun activity. Come on, tell me quickly, which is priority 1?
Iodide wala CH2. Yes.
Any data is carbon then iodine, carbon then iodine. So this is 1. Then carbon, carbon, then carbon, hydrogen, and this is hydrogen only. This is anti-clockwise, hydrogen vertical, nothing out of place. Please go ahead. The configuration has to be. Yes, please.
S.
Yes, please. S. Anti-clockwise, it has to be S. Now, let me tell you another rule. Another rule of playing around with the facial projection is if it is A, B, C, D, if it is A, B, C, D, what you can do is you can always hold one arm. You can always hold one arm and rotate the other 3 among themselves, both clockwise and anti-clockwise. So if you're holding this arm, say hydrogen, And if you're rotating the other three, CH2, CH3 would come here, CH2I would come here, and methyl would go up. Hydrogen has been held back. And now what I just want to show is, this is allowed in the sense, this is going to be S again. Now yet again, if this is 1 and this is 2 and this is 3, hey, this is certainly S again. Let me try this anti-clockwise. Let me try this anti-clockwise. I'm holding this hydrogen again. And if I do it anti-clockwise, CH2I would go up, CH2, CH3 would come here. And this CH3 would go there. And yet again, if this is 1 and if this is 2 and this is 3, see, this will be S only. So, all of them are same. If I can hold this, I can rotate it clockwise or I can rotate it anti-clockwise. So this is also allowed. You can hold one particular arm and rotate the other three on the plane of the board clockwise or anti-clockwise. बच्चे लोग हाँ ना बोलो.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can move on. Let's talk about the fourth one now. Let's talk about the fourth one now. These many rules are enough for us to identify identical enantiomers and diastereomers compounds. So I'm going to very quickly switch to the next assignment, where there are two ways of identifying the relationship between pressure projections, either by the nomenclature or, as I told you, by pure aptitude. I'll always, promote and appreciate if you do it, from the basic rules of playing around with the pressure projections. Yes, we can move on. One more example, and then I can, move to the next set of questions in the next assignment. So very quickly, CHO, OH, H, and CH2OH. Quickly, I want to move at some pace, which is priority one.
OH.
Direct attack जो है वो पहले oxygen. फिर CHO, because C double bond will mean it's COO. I told you यहाँ से, it's carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. So this is 3, 1, 2, 3, and this is horizontal, clockwise, anti-clockwise, but R. Now, I would rather want to do the rest of the questions, at some point of time. Now I want to switch on to, the case where I tell you to identify between identical enantiomeric and, diastereomers. If you simply want the answer to the next questions in this particular problem sheet, 5 का S होगा, 6 का R होगा. Tell me सकते हैं, कोई problem नहीं. You can tell me what to do. This is question 4. Question 5. Question 5. Methyl COH, ethyl hydrogen. Methyl COOH, ethyl hydrogen. But now I want to move at a pace, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But S, this is clockwise, but this is placed horizontal. Next one contains 2 chiral carbon. Next one contains 2 chiral carbon. Methyl hydrogen OH. You just want to check your, attempt. Let me know if there is a query or doubt. And the way I was doing it last day, I would want to number it and OH being the functional group. If I number it like 1, 2, 3, 4, you have chirality at carbon 2 as well as carbon 3. At carbon 2, at carbon 2, at carbon 2, I can write H, OH, CH3, then carbon, chlorine, ethyl, hydrogen. This will be like 1, 2. You can correct me if I'm doing a mistake. I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. With 4 kept, horizontal. I want to write 2 as this anti-clockwise. But 2 are, if I make a mistake, you can correct me, I repeat. For carbon 3, this carbon 2, I repeat, for carbon 3, it's chlorine, hydrogen, ethyl, and then C, OH, Me, hydrogen, if you understand me, this is carbon 3, and I think chlorine, OH. Please correct me if I'm going wrong at any point of time. This is again anti-clockwise, and I'll write but CR. I think I'm going all right. 2 or 3 is what you would have got as well.
हाँ सर
ठीक है यार, तो बाकी सारा क्वेश्चंस रूटीन है. अब बुक में जाने से अच्छा है कि मैं ना इसके बाद का जो सेट है वो सॉल्व करवाऊं, which I think is a little more learning in nature. So I'm shifting to the next assignment.
सर खाली एक बार
And
आंसर बता देंगे सारा का.
बता देता हूँ ना. 6 हो गया ना. 7, 8, 9, 10. 7, 8,
हाँ
9,
सर
10. 7, 8, 9, 10. 7 में मिथाइल ब्रोमीन हाइड्रोजन, ब्रोमीन हाइड्रोजन इथाइल. फटाफट कर भी सकते हैं, ऐसा कोई बात नहीं है. इस कार्बन पर मेरे को लगता है ये 1 है, ब्रोमीन डायरेक्टली आ गया. फिर ये 2 है, फिर ये 3 है, ये 1 है, ये पूरा का पूरा नीचे 2 है ना. फिर ये 3 है. तो इस कार्बन पर ये क्लॉकवाइज है, बट ये ऐसा है क्या बच्चे? देखते कोई गड़बड़ तो बताना मेरे को.
हाँ सर यस सर
नीचे वाला के लिए ये 1 है, फिर कार्बन ब्रोमीन है, ऊपर वाला 2 है, ये 3 है, ये 4 है, क्लॉकवाइज है. ये भी ऐसी है क्या? ऐसी लग रहा है, चेक कर लेना. 8 नंबर के लिए मिथाइल ब्रोमीन हाइड्रोजन, हाइड्रोजन ब्रोमीन मिथाइल. चेक कर लेना, कहीं गलती मेरे से होगा तो यू कैन करेक्ट मी, नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम. ये कार्यालय, इस कार्यालय के लिए ये ब्रोमीन 1 है, ये नीचे वाला कार्बन ब्रोमीन है, तो ये 2 है पूरा नीचे वाला, ये 3 है, ये क्लॉकवाइज जा रहा है, ये बट यहाँ पर है, तो दिस विल बी बट ऊपर में ऐसे क्या देखते हो. और नीचे वाला कार्बन के लिए ये 1 है, ये ऊपर में कार्बन फिर ब्रोमीन है, तो ऊपर वाला 2 है, नीचे वाला 3 है, ये एंटी क्लॉकवाइज है, बट आर. ऊपर वाला ऐसे, नीचे वाला आर है. ठीक है, 9 और 10 भी देख लेते हैं. मेरे को लग रहा है करेक्ट ही किया होगा. चौधरी जी बोलते रहिए.
हाँ सर सर वो एक्चुअली जो शीट भेजे ना उसमें सेवेंथ और 8 सेम था.
वो मेरे से लिखने में गड़बड़ हो गया होगा. I'm really sorry about. I'm sorry about that. ये 7th और 8th, sorry about it. OHF CH3, OHF CH3 और CH डबल बॉन्ड CH2. ये हम देख सकते हैं, फटाफट कर सकते हैं यार, इसमें इतना टाइम नहीं लगेगा. ये 1 है, ये 2 है, ये 3 है, ये अपना जगह पर 4 है, जैसा होना चाहिए वैसा ही है. एंटी क्लॉकवाइज. और 10 नंबर हाइड्रोजन, क्लोरीन, फ्लोरीन, मिथाइल। ये सॉरी, ये 1 है, ये 2 है, ये 3 है, ये अपना जगह पर है, वर्टिकल है, एंटी क्लॉकवाइज है, तो ऐसा ठीक है, खत्म, खाली खत्म। अच्छा ही हुआ तू मेरे को बोला, मैं सबका आंसर बता दिया, बिना मतलब पेंडिंग रहता। चलो थोड़ा सा और इंटरेस्टिंग काम कर लेते हैं, ठीक है? बताते जाओ यार, ये मैं आई बी विलिंग टू सी तुम लोग कैसे किया, कैसा कि नहीं किया। आई होप Arnav is there in the class. Arnav, you know, did the first sheet perfectly well. ये वाला भी मैं देखता हूँ कितना किया नहीं किया बाकी लोग। So you know, now it's about identifying, find the relationship. You know, you can take a screenshot. I'll move to the next assignment at the count of 3. So I'll be counting three. I'm giving you time only to take a screenshot if you want the answers. So 1, 2, and 3. I move to assignment 8, which is about, you know, a more interesting job, which is find the relationship. And you have a set of compounds: bromine, chlorine, fluorine, hydrogen. And fluorine, fluorine, hydrogen, bromine. I would tell you 2 ways of solving this problem, and I think you understand me about this time. I'll tell you 2 ways of solving this problem, and I repeat, I think you understand me around this time. A more, you know, stereotype manner would be if I write 1 and I write 2 and I write 3 and I write 4 and I say it's clockwise, but S, and 1, 2, 3, and you know, if I again say clockwise, but this is conventional and R, and I say they are enantiomers, है ना? बच्चे लोग हाँ ना बोलो,
हाँ सर।
बच्चे लोग। तो ये enantiomers हम ऐसे तो प्रूव कर दिए एक S और एक R बना करके। But you know, please tell me, and I'm really looking forward to people, you know, responding about this. Please give me a minute. Hello, hello, मम्मी को एक बार फोन दो, मम्मी को एक बार फोन दो ना। बेटा मेरा क्लास चल रहा है, मेरा क्लास के बीच में फोन आ रहा है, मैं क्लास चल रहा है, लाइव क्लास चल रहा है। यू नो मेरी क्लास है 9:30 से, क्लास में मैं दिस द सेकंड कॉल। Well. So you know, S and R is going to tell you that they're enantiomeric, but I'm really willing somebody, you know, to come up with a better logic. Please tell me how very basically you can tell me the 2 are enantiomers. Please tell me.
Sir, in the second compound, we can exchange bromine with chlorine and hydrogen with fluorine. So, in such way, it would be the mirror images of each other.
Okay, is it Priyanshu?
Yes, sir.
So you want me to bring out a couple of changes which are allowed? So this is allowed. This is allowed, mind you. You know, this comes from a very smart and you know a very good student of mine who says, you know, you convert it to a form which looks like a mirror image of this compound. Accept it. Good. So this is allowed. That is the same as, you know, the one which is allowed. And what he has done is he has, you know, written the second form as the mirror image of the first form. Sounds good. Anyone with a different way of doing it? Anyone? See, what I could also say is you can get this to this by rotating 90 degree and anti-clockwise. Bromine comes here, hydrogen comes here, fluorine comes here, and chlorine comes here. Now tell me, is it allowed or not allowed? Is it allowed or not allowed?
Sir, it is not allowed, but it would provide
It
an
is not allowed.
enantiomer would be provided.
Obviously, if it is allowed, it will give you the same compound. If it's not allowed, something if it's not allowed, will always be giving you the enantiomer. So I simply respect, what Priyanshu said. You have always been coming up with great answers. I would want more people to respond. Priyanshu, your response is more, commendable and is directly looking like the mirror image. It's just one more add-on which I wanted to have. I think you're all there with me. We'll want to move to question 2. बच्चे लोग हाँ ना बोलो. Question 2. CHO-OH, CH2OH, H. CHO-OH, CH2OH, H. And CH2OH, CHO-OH, H. Now please relate the two. A simpler one again is, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I write but R. I think I'm going all right. At times I do make mistakes and please correct me. Anti-clockwise but R, but is always when it's horizontal. But when I do it this way, it's basically a spoiler. I would always want people to come up with their own ideas, and again, this is, I guess, again, but R. So if both are R, I'll believe they're identical. Is this what is the common answer, or have I made a mistake? It's identical. But who can tell me another way of telling me that it's identical? Come on, quickly.
Sir, in the second compound, we could fix hydrogen and then rotate OH anti-clockwise.
Who is this? Tell me your name, please.
Sir, Priyanshu.
Priyanshu, you're going great. You're wanting me to hold this and rotate the other 3. I'll do that. I'm holding this. I'm holding this. And then I'll rotate it like CHO going up.
Anti-clockwise, yes, sir.
CH2 is going down and O is going here. So if I do this, I'll get this. I hope the rest of you are understanding me. What I could have also done is, I could have held this hydrogen and, gone clockwise here. That would also have given me, compound 2. So I'm really happy Priyanshu is coming up with nice ideas. I think the rest of you are understanding me. I would want more people to respond to me. Naturally, there are 2 ways of coming up with the right answer. I want you to relate to both of them. Can we move to the next set of compounds? Could we move to the next set of compounds?
Yes, sir.
So the third pair of compounds is CH2Cl methyl hydrogen ethyl, CH2Cl methyl hydrogen ethyl, and ethyl CH2Cl hydrogen methyl. Ethyl CH2Cl hydrogen methyl. I would want somebody to come up with his or her answer first. I think it was just the problem set as well. I think the answer to this is identical. I remember having given the answers as well in this particular assignment.
हाँ
So
सर
the answer
आंसर
is, हाँ, ये 1, 2, 3 होता है, ये एंटी क्लॉकवाइज होता है, तो ये R होता है, नेचुरल है, और ये भी 1, 2, 3 होता है. क्या हो रहा है यार, ये गड़बड़ कर रहा हूँ कि एंटी क्लॉकवाइज ऐसे, सॉरी, गड़बड़ कर देना यहाँ पे, ऐसे ना, बोलो यार. तो ये भी 1, 2, 3 ऐसी है ना. Reyes, you're following me?
हाँ सर
All right. If you're following me, very quickly tell me another way of arriving at this result. instead of nomenclature, how do you prove that the two are identical?
सर हाइड्रोजन फिक्स करके
हाइड्रोजन
बाकी
को
तीनों को
फिक्स
घुमा
करके
देंगे।
सर रोटेट कर देंगे।
सही बात है। आई वॉन्ट यू पीपल टू कम अप विद दीस आइडियाज। हाइड्रोजन को फिक्स करके इथाइल को यहाँ पर ले गए, CH2Cl को यहाँ पर ले गए, मिथाइल को यहाँ पर। And I want you to come up with these ideas. We want to move to question 4. And I think, the other way which I am doing is certainly more enterprise. COH, OH, methyl hydrogen. COH, OH, methyl hydrogen. And OH, CH3, hydrogen, COH. Yet again, you have the answer to this. So, you know what the answer to begin with?
सर एनांशियोमर होगा।
They are enantiomers. So, let's go ahead. Please correct me if I'm doing a mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4, anti-clockwise. So, right, but R. I hope I'm doing justice to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, anti-clockwise, and it's normally S because it's kept, vertical. So one R and another S would certainly mean they are enantiomers. The two are enantiomers. Quickly, anyone, or rather, I would want both of you to tell me what's another way of proving the two are enantiomers?
सर 90 डिग्री रोटेशन अलाउड नहीं है, बट टू फर्स्ट सेकंड वाला फर्स्ट का 90 डिग्री रोटेटेड
क्या
फिगर है।
बात, क्या बात, क्या बात. This was wrong due where you keep on coming up with the right answer. Amazing. I think more people would have understood this. Rotation by 90 degree, rotation by 90 degree, rotation by 90 degree. I can kind of do this. Rotation by 90 degree, and say in this case anti-clockwise. So what Reyes is saying, this is not allowed, and every time it's not allowed, it's going to land up giving you a mirror image, enantiomer. Sounds good. Next one. Yes, we can move on. तो चलो खाना बोलो. R और S एक simple तरीका है, but this is again something which is not very, very challenging. Yes, we can move on. Next one. बच्चे लोग खाना बोलो. Yes, please. I think you're happy with me. I think you're understanding me.
Yes sir.
Sounds good. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन में एक जगह हाइड्रोजन मिसिंग है. आई एम सॉरी अबाउट दैट. अगर मिसिंग है तो हाइड्रोजन ही समझ लेना चाहिए. CH2OH, OH, OH, H, H. You have CH2Br. अब एक सिंपल सा बात है. अब यहाँ पर तो we don't go after finding R and S. We don't go after finding R and S. That would be such a wastage of time. When you see the two are mirror images of each other, the two are enantiomers. Yes or no? When you know the two are mirror images of each other, the two are enantiomers. Yes or no?
Yes sir.
So this is where, at the end of the day, this wisdom would always have an upper hand. You don't want to relate the two by looking at them and then playing around. Particularly when there are more than one carbon atom, you can seriously save time. So I don't exactly know how you would have done this, but I would appreciate if I find students doing it with basic aptitude, then R and S, because now I'll not do R and S. I'll not do R and S, and I would want you people to come up with the rules I've told you. Yes, HOH.
सर जब
First
दो
of
तो
all,
कायरल कार्बन हो तो पूरा 180 डिग्री रोटेशन अलाउड होता है।
हाँ, एक कार्बन में भी अलाउड है, दो कार्बन में भी अलाउड है. पूरा बोर्ड पे 180 रोटेशन ना, वो 1 2 3 4 कितना भी कार्बन लिखा हो, पूरा फिशर पोजीशन को तुम पूरा ऐसे ही घुमा सकते हो, पूरा फिशर पोजीशन को तुम ऐसे ही घुमा सकते हो। कार्बन में 4 का ग्लूकोज में 4 होगा, वो पूरा का पूरा घुमा सकते हो, 4 कार्बन होने से, दैट्स नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम।
हाँ तो वो घुमाते आइडेंटिकल फिगर आ जाएगा तो आई होगा।
Very good. And you know, this calls for some basic visualization. You know, the two are identical, and I want to avoid, you know, using R and S configuration here. I want to go with what, you know, Reyes just told me, that if I rotate it completely, if I rotate by 180 degree, which is allowed on the plane of the paper, COS will come down, CS2OH will go here, and it's basic visualization, that if COH comes here, CS2 goes up, this comes down and that goes up, you know, NH2 and OH will be exchanging their positions. NH2 and OH will be exchanging their positions is something, you know, you'll want to visualize. And this is true for throughout, you know, even if it's a more complicated molecule, you know, I'll give you the example of glucose, CHO, and if this is CH2OH, trust me, this is C6H12O6. This is C6H12O6 having 4 chiral carbon atoms. This is D plus glucose. All right, the blood sugar. I can always claim that if I rotate it like this, you know, where the CHO comes down and the CH2OH goes up. Well, you know, when I rotate it by 1 degree, I'll have this wisdom that this OH, and this OH would like come here, here, and here, and carbon 3 वाला जो OH है, वो यहाँ की जगह यहाँ पर आ जाए। तो इतना बेसिक विजुअलाइजेशन तो कर ही सकते हैं, बच्चे लोग हाँ ना बोलो।
हाँ सर।
So you can always rotate it on the plane of the board by 1 degree, irrespective of the number of carbon atoms, and the two are identical. We want to move on. I'm kind of, you know, liking your participation in the class. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Hope we can go past it in the next 10, 15 minutes. Question 7. You can take a snapshot if you want more time. I mean, at the count of 3, I'll want to move to the next question. 1, 2, 3. You can take a snapshot. I'll share the recording with you as well. Question 7. And I'm looking forward to your response. I would not go R and S in any of them. CHO, NH2, hydrogen. Now this is hydrogen OH, CH2OH. And CH2OH, HOH. CHO, HNH2. Yes, please. I think you have the answer with you, which I can see is there in enantiomers. And please tell me what's a smart way of making one look like the mirror image of another without writing R and S. Quickly tell me.
Sir, rotating the second compound by 180 degrees.
Yeah, so I think, you know, you always have a likeliness of rotating the second compound. For a change, why not rotate the first compound? You know, the state of affairs will remain the same. What you said is also right. For a change, CHO going up, I'm so sorry, CH2OH going up, CHO coming down, and this is not very difficult to visualize. This OH will go there, but chalo hana bolo.
सर इस केस में तो ये डायस्टीरियोमर हो जाएगा
कैसे बच्चे?
सर, क्योंकि सर वैसे 7 का जो फर्स्ट वाला है ना उसमें NH2 राइट पे है। अगर लेफ्ट पे होगा तो सर डायस्टीरियोमर हो जाएगा, राइट पे है तभी वो एनांशियोमर है।
एक मिनट, मैं यहाँ पर गड़बड़ कर दिया हूँ, कॉपी कर दिया। हाँ ठीक है, जो भी गलती है वो मेरा है, जो भी गलती है वो मेरा है, इवेंचुअली जो भी गलती है वो मेरा है. I did a mistake in copying it down. I did a mistake in copying down the, the projection, but you guys are understanding me. There is something which is allowed. So these two are same, and this is certainly going to look like a mirror image to this. All right. The answer is enantiomer only. You don't change the answer if I make a mistake. And I guess we can move on. But chalo khana bolo. These two will look like the mirror image. Quickly, come on. We want to move on. If you're understanding me, Shyamsu, Reyes, you are the ones who will want to respond. We want to move on. But chalo khana bolo.
Yes, sir.
8. 8 तो आइडेंटिकल दिखता ही है. 8 आइडेंटिकल क्यों दिखता है मेरे को बताओ तो. 8 आइडेंटिकल क्यों दिखता है बोलो तो. Please tell me, why do I call them identical although they look like mirror images?
सर अगेन 180 डिग्री रोटेशन पे सेम हो जाएगा.
And a better way to claim that is, the two are identical because, you can rotate by 1 degree, and a better claim would be both are meso. A meso does not have a mirror image. A meso does not have the mirror image. Again, if you go about, they're tartaric acid, two forms of tartaric acid. And if you go about, getting their nomenclature, I'm sure this will be like 2R3S, this will be like 2R3S or 2F3R. Fine. एक अगर 2R3S आएगा, दूसरा 2F3R आएगा, and vice versa. So meso form है, plane of symmetry है, and there is nothing like drawing the mirror image. You rotate by 1 degree. I also respect what you say. If you rotate by 1 degree, you get the other one, which means they're superimposable, identical. Question 9. Yes, we can move on. Question 9. 9 looks interesting because there are 3 carbon here. तीनों में OH, 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 हाइड्रोजन, हाइड्रोजन, हाइड्रोजन ऐसे ही है. Methyl at top, ethyl at the bottom, and now this looks a little tricky. It's not that straightforward. This looks a little tricky. I would be really happy if somebody comes up with the right explanation here, and I'm certainly going to do this without using R and S. Please go ahead, tell me. You already have the answer with you, I reckon. I see the
सर
answer
ऊपर
is
वाला आंसर तो एनांशियोमर है. ऊपर का तीनों को रोटेट करेंगे सच दैट इथाइल गोज ऑन टॉप, एंड नीचे का तीनों को रोटेट करेंगे सच दैट मिथाइल गोज बॉटम, और
you
फिर
want to
पूरा 180
rotate,
रोटेशन.
you want to play around with the first structure or the second structure.
सर सेकंड स्ट्रक्चर.
Fine, not a problem. I see people more willing to play around with the second structure. Fine. So tell me, what do I do first?
इथाइल को ऊपर भेजेंगे.
So you want me to keep this entire structure at hold? This is being held, and you want me to do this?
हाँ.
Fine, understood. क्या बोलते हो अंग्रेजी पिक्चर में? Copy that. रुक जा बच्चे, ये सब तो करने लग जाएगा तो मजा ही आ जाएगा. वाह, चल बहुत बढ़िया कर रहा है, लेकिन इसको होल्ड करके रखा है, और इसको घुमा दी. हाइड्रोजन यहाँ आ गया, OH यहाँ पर आ गया. अब बता नेक्स्ट क्या करने का, बोल.
सर सिमिलरली ऊपर वाला को होल्ड करके मिथाइल नीचे भेज.
अच्छा, अब तू बोल रहा है इसको पूरा होल्ड करके. इसको नीचे ले जाओ, इसको ऐसे ले जाओ, इसको ऐसे ले जाओ, है ना?
हाँ सर।
I think the rest of you are following him and me as well.
सर
Yes,
अब 180 रोटेशन पे पूरा उल्टा आ जाएगा।
अब क्या करने का है?
180 डिग्री रोटेट करेंगे तो मिरर इमेज आ जाएगा।
अब ये तुम्हें नैन्सिमर दिखता है, ये तुम्हें नैन्सिमर दिखता है, क्योंकि अगर इसको पूरा घुमा दोगे तो इसका मिरर इमेज बन जाएगा, इसको पूरा घुमा दोगे तो इसका मिरर इमेज बन जाएगा। या मैं एक बात बोलूं, और कुछ नहीं करने का ना, तो यहाँ पे एक तो मिरर लेना, ये दोनों भी आपस में मिरर इमेज दिखता है। ये सुनो,
हाँ सर।
साउंड गुड, बढ़िया, 9 symbolisms. Wow. We'll talk about question 10 now. You can take a screenshot. It was worth the effort, which Reyes and some of you would have done. Immaculate. This is the maximum they go. Rather, I think, the earlier you learn this, the easier it's going to be to score off these questions, which some people by R&S would make a mess of. Question 10. At the count of three, I'm going to move to the last two questions. It's been a nice experience, taking this class tonight. Question 10. OHS methyl. OHS methyl. And OHS methyl, OHS methyl. So it's OHS methyl on both the carbon atoms. Well. Well, the two are, according to the answer here, they are diastereomers. So you know what I'll tell you is, from my experience, anybody who would want to pitch in, please tell me. Welcome. Two things. One, no matter how hard you try, with all the rules I've told you to play with the Fisher projections, you'll neither be able to convert this to this or its mirror image. Secondly, one thing which I would have told you, any day, when one part looks like the mirror image and the other part does not, in the sense, I'm allowed to do this. If I hold this and if I rotate it like this here and this here and this here, see, this is going to be the same as, please hear me out. The upper half was being held, and I have, rotated these three. Well. One half is mirror image, and another half is identical. So this half is identical. So this is going to be proving me that this is diastereomer. Another way naturally would be to go after R&S configuration. You're welcome to do that. I don't have a problem if you go by a diastereomerism. If you go by RS configuration, I can also do that very quickly. For this carbon, it's going to be 1, and it's going to be 2, and it's going to be 3, and it's going to be 4, and this is going to be but S for the lower one. It's going to be 1. The entire upper one is going to be 2. It's going to be 3. It's going to be 4. So I think this is but S and this is S. So this is SS. For this carbon, this is 1. This is 2. This is 3. So if I go this way, this is anti-clockwise, and I'll write but R. And this is for this carbon 1 and 2 and 3. And this will be clockwise but S. So even if you go R and S configuration, this will be like SS and this will be RS. So if you do this, trust me, you'll also understand the fact which I told you, same at one carbon, different at another carbon, they're going to be diastereomers. Last but not the least, today, it was really nice, solving these set of questions with you. COH, hydrogen, bromine. I think people are understanding me. Last set of compounds, methyl bromine, hydrogen, and then hydrogen chlorine. Yes, please tell me what
सर
are
constitutional isomer होगा.
they are constitutional isomers. Certainly. Excellent. They're constitutional isomers because there will be two different compounds altogether. You know, the carbon to which you have bromine attached, if I number it certainly by the maximum priority functional group, this would be like 2-bromo 3-chloro. This will be like 2-bromo 3-chloro butanoic acid. Pardon me for the handwriting, it goes weird at times when I'm getting late for my dinner. And this is 3-bromo 2-chloro butanoic acid. So spot on. यहाँ पे जिस कार्बन पर COH है उसमें ब्रोमीन लगा हुआ है, यहाँ पे जिस कार्बन पर COH इसमें क्लोरीन लगा हुआ है. So just we come to the happy ending of this class. I repeat, it was so nice to have you people, in the class tonight. Keep delivering, keep studying hard, stay happy, stay healthy. See you in the last live class. मिलते हैं बच्चे लोग. Good night. Take care. Bye bye.